I don't know if anyone else is excited for 2024 as I am. I know before we get going, we are seeing massive amounts of buyers coming back into the market the first 2 weeks of the year. We had 7 listings that we had up in December that we decided to pull towards the end of the year, and we just gave it a 2-week period. They were all on market for over 30 days. We brought them all back to market, and we sold every one of them in the first 3 days, and 3 got bid up over list. Um, so you guys, being a flipper or an investor this year is gonna feel a lot different than 2023. So we're really excited for that. I know we looked up on a lot of properties for 2020 in 2023 that we're gonna get a sell this year, but these rates, the news about the rates coming down and as the median home price keeps creeping up is really starting to make the market jump. Um, an investor buddy of mine listed a house in Seattle, North Seattle, this past weekend. He had 70 showings in 48 hours. I have not seen that many showings in the market since rates were down in the threes. Um, so the market is definitely, it is ripping right now. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get this going. And for those who are joining late in the presentation, we will be recording this and sending it out to you. But we are going over today the ProjectRE, putting the real estate. It's a 3-day boot camp, and the purpose of this boot camp is to help everyone kind of get off the sidelines and get going in their real estate flip business or just getting scaling in general. Um, Action is what grows us as investors. Reading books, listening to podcasts, those are all things that are going to give us tools and the tools to start investing and start moving forward. But it really comes down to those next steps, getting off the sidelines and getting into growing. And once you do that, that's where you can start scaling and really changing what it's going to look like for you as an investor in your financial freedom outlook. So for those who don't know me that well, I've been an active real estate investor in the Pacific Northwest since 2005, almost nearly 2 decades. We've been buying and selling properties since 2005 through all the different market cycles. We've never stopped. We've always been buying, changed up our business plan, adapted to what's going on in the market environment, kept purchasing, and then moved on to the next market. Since then, we've done over 3,500 flip transactions with ourselves or investors through our brokerage, Heat and Dainard Real Estate, where we are sourcing properties, packaging them, performing them, creating up the game plan for the client, and then helping them implement it all the way through. Since founding Heat and Dainard in 2010, we've done over $1 billion in sales with investors. That is our specialty. That is our niche. That is all we know. We are not your traditional real estate brokers. That is not how we've set up our business. It is about finding flippers and investors, discounted real estate, helping them with the plan to maximize the value, and then helping them implement it. Outside of the flip transactions and what we do to create more income and sales, we are active investors for buy and hold and landlords. Since starting investing in 2005, we built out our portfolio to over 1,000 doors in the Pacific Northwest, which are heavy value add properties that we implemented our flip strategy into these buildings. And by doing that, in creating those 1,000 doors, we're in a very expensive market of Seattle, Washington, and we cash flow at over 10 to 12% on every one of our properties, which is really hard to do in the metro market. And we've created over $20 million in equity by buying right, implementing the right rehab strand, and then creating and stabilizing these buildings. In addition to being an active landlord, we are constantly creating passive income streams with private money lending. We've lent over $1 billion to investors. So we're very, very active investors in all different avenues of real estate. And that's really what our goal is for this presentation, is to take a new investor and help them start to create income streams, wealth, and then create more income streams so you can get to financial freedom. What you can expect from this weekend, right? What is a 3-day boot camp? So what you guys are going to receive over the next 3 days is exclusive access into my intro to flipping class that was taught at Bigger Pockets BPCon. I'm going to take you from A to Z on the real estate strategies that I've used to grow and scale my business for the past 18 years, including changing the business, how we're running our job sites, what teams we bring in, how we run our construction projects, how we control our costs, and how we have to adapt them every 12 to 24 months. Everything you need to know to get started. So we're also going to cover everything that you need to get started in scale, from sourcing the property, funding it, construction, design. How do you keep these properties coming through as good opportunities? And then how do you maximize them as an investor with putting the right plan on? So what is Project RE for those who don't know? Um, our Project RE is our community of active real estate investors that are looking to grow their business and achieve financial freedom through real estate investing. It The educational platform offers real guidance on how to help you achieve your finance goals. So, you guys, Project RE is it is our academy that teaches investors how to build the businesses that we've owned now for over 10 years. Because we're such active investors and we've been in any type of market, been able to create these additional businesses from A to Z and grow them to some serious scale. And so, the purpose of Project RE is to turn you into a Swiss Army knife investor, where you can get trained on any subject that you want to learn and grow on. And we're going to give you the back end to train you not only the processes, but the paperwork you need, the resources you need to put together, and then the teams and how you implement that into your daily real estate business. Inside of our academy, there's online courses. Each course, each topic or each specialty that we work on has a designated course to take someone through A to Z. So it's a lot different than other educational platforms. Most educational platforms teach one thing. They're going to teach you how to be a flipper. They're going to teach you how to be a wholesaler, and then they're going to from there, it's how do you grow and learn. So what our academy does is all encompassing, to where we're taking you through a detailed course for fix and flip, wholesaling, private money lending, any business that we do, and we're going to train you to get you to that next level. It's also a community of active real estate investors that are, inside of our Project RE Academy. They're very, very active operators. It's not just your typical person that's trying to learn something. Most of the people inside of our community are either getting started working on their first project or have already completed a lot. So our community is really cool because we're giving active feedback to everybody as it goes, and then including selling deal flow, working with each other. We just had 2 students buy and sell deals off each other. So they work with each other to kind of grow into it. Outside of the community, we have something called office hours, which is a private coaching or a small coaching group for the investors that are operators and they want to kind of get to the next level, outside of our online courses. And what we talk about on our community calls, we have an option for 2-hour private coaching small group where we are all logging in, creating our next steps, and then growing from there. So before we kind of dive into just how this is going to go, or how this is going to look over the next 3 days, I think it's important, as we talk about scaling in real estate. And that's one of my biggest questions I get from not only when we talk about scaling real estate. Sorry guys, my video froze up for a second. So when we're talking about scaling real estate, I get these questions from not only just real estate investors, but other operators or even podcast speakers going, how do I get this going? And what it comes down to as a real estate investor is just taking that first step and then building those building blocks. Where I got started in real estate, because people look at us now and they say, well, you've done so well, you bought in the right market, and that's why you were able to grow. But it doesn't matter when you start, where you start, or how much you have, you can get started. I got started when I was a senior in college, and I was trying to figure out how to get into my first sales job. I always had loved real estate. I had um, already bought a piece of land when I was 17 years old and had resold it. And so it was really interesting. And when I was a senior in college, I went to work for an off-market real estate company. And that job was to go out wholesale properties, bang on doors, go find them an opportunity, get paid a check, and then move on. And during that time when I got in real estate, I didn't have any money. If anything, I had more student loans. I had my only income stream was being a waiter at Red Robin, just paying the bills through my tips and hourlies. And then it was about getting into real estate. And so when I started, I had no money, I had no real experience, but I took the step in to get into wholesaling, and that was essential for growing. And by taking that step, I was able to get involved. I didn't need all the money in the world. I didn't need all these things. It was about just getting going and learning. So once I got going, I started becoming one of the bigger wholesalers in Washington State just by applying my effort and energy and just really working hard. Now, from there, what that's allowed me to do is just by taking that first initial step is create success over an 18-year period because growing in real estate isn't just overnight. It is where are you going to end? And from starting from being a broke waiter as a wholesaler, now we own over 8 different businesses in the Pacific Northwest where we generate over $50 million in revenue by this just taking that first step. If we would not have got in the business or bought that first deal, we wouldn't be where we're at today. And every time you take a step as an investor, that's where you're going to learn the
What do you
brick
say,
and
baby?
mortar. Yep. Oh, oh, Amanda, did you say something? Sorry.
Nope, that wasn't me, but we got it on mute now. Keep
Okay.
going.
And I've lost the slides, just so you know.
Great.
Has everyone else lost the slides?
Yeah, I can't see them.
There is no slide. It's just you telling your story.
Yeah,
Okay.
just your face. Oh, there we go. Slides are coming back.
There we go. So by doing that, it's about you guys just taking those steps into the brick and mortar. It's gone to, we've been able to create businesses over multiple time and where it's got us, right? And what real estate has done for me, I never thought it was going to be when I first took this position. I took this position to learn sales, make some money, and then try to get on with the rest of my career. But by taking that first step and really systemizing these businesses and then creating multiple income streams, it's allowed me to live a lifestyle that I wanted in the very beginning. Today, I was able to take my family on a large 2-week vacation to Australia because of the investments that we've made with passive income. Every time we've flipped a property, we have reinvested that money. We've taken a portion to live off of, we've taken a portion to go buy more property, and then we reinvest in real estate. By doing that, it's created massive passive income streams that are over 6 figures that can cover my complete lifestyle. But so by the time I'm 40 years old, I do not need to work anymore because of the investments I've made, whether it is through our passive money, our hard money lending business, our rental portfolio, and then the systems and businesses that we built out of flipping properties. And everybody in this call can do the same thing. And that is the biggest thing I want people to take away from is it doesn't matter where you start. It's a matter how you apply yourself, and it's a matter of who you surround yourself with to grow. And by doing that, you can, with the right goals and plan, you can actually create those same income streams to take you to that financial freedom that we all hear about on podcasts and books. That is a real thing, but you have to take real steps. Part of these steps is what we're going to take you through on this 3-day boot camp. So what to expect on day 1? First, you're going to start with the basics on day 1. We're going to talk about building your team, sourcing deals, and securing funding. These are the essential for getting going in a fix and flip business. The reason it's essential is the more access you have, the bigger team you have, and the better team you have, the more you can scale. The more deals and opportunities you come in, the more income streams and better opportunities you're going to have. And funding your property, the more access to capital that you have, the more you can grow. And that's what we did over 18 years. It was buying some deals on our own, bringing in partners. And by bringing in partners, it allowed us to create more capital and more liquidity. By doing that, we were able to create more profit, which profit turned into more income streams, which pays for our life today. So make sure everybody after this call that you download your workbook. That is essential as we take you through, because one thing that we want you to do through that 3-day boot camp is to do this in a logical order. Go through the workbook, and as you go through those steps, I want you to write down your goals and everything that goes along with that, with those chapters. The goal is by the end of the 3 days that you guys are gonna be ready to go to get going into your first fix and flip business, and that is a very real step. So why goals are so important is because goals are going to tell us what to do when we start flipping properties or any other types of real estate investing. Depending on what my goals are in 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years is going to tell me which avenue to lean into and how do I get there faster. And one of the biggest mistakes that investors do is they come into our space or they start getting into any real estate in space without thinking about the logical steps to get you to your goal. Many investors that I talk to, like, hey, I want to flip 10 properties that year. That is my goal. Whereas that shouldn't be the goal. It should be how much income do you want to create from flipping properties, and then how to work that backwards and how do you achieve that. So in your boot camp, we're going to go through these goals. What is your action plans? What is your roadblocks? What is your action steps to get you moving forward? Because unless you take that tangible step, you are never going to reach them. And so it's about writing them down, being accountable, and then getting to that next phase. What to expect on day 2 is that on the second day, we're going to dive deep into the numbers. This is where we're going to get into the nitty gritty of real estate. Again, you guys, the concepts that we hear, we see them on TV, we hear them on podcasts of, oh, hey, you can go make millions of dollars flipping houses. You just need to go find a good deal, fix it, and sell it, and make some money. But there's so much in the in between. So day 2 is what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to dive deep into the numbers, talk about all things underwriting. As well as, in underwriting is going to cover like, how do you find that good deal? How do you identify whether it's a good deal? What do you budget for that property? And then what kind of return are you going to make and forecast that before you make that decision to buy? We're also going to be covering the paperwork and forms that all flippers should be using on their job sites, how they're purchasing properties, and the contracts they need to be working with to grow and scale, but to secure your investment. There is so many different scams out there in the real estate business, from contractors to bad wholesalers to just purchasing a bad deal. And these contracts and forms are what are going to protect you so you can grow forward. In addition to, we're going to talk about how to vet your contractor, and we go into a very deep dive of construction because that is always one of the hardest parts. How do you identify whether it's a good deal? What do you need to do to it? How do you design it? And how do you sell it and maximize it for the most? Day 2 sessions are accessible. If available, day 2 sessions access is available immediately after you complete day 1. So once you get through that first step, you're going to have access to step 2. We're also going to email you in the morning so you can jump right in. So as you get through setting your goals, what your expectations are, day 2 is going to be in that nitty gritty core basic underwriting and mechanics that you need to know as you start flipping properties. On day 3, the final day, what you're going to learn are styles of homes, specs, and more. So this is where we're going to go into designing that property, putting the right style behind it, how to design it so it sells for the most, but also not blow your budgets. And then we're going to wrap it up with the pros and cons of flipping, because you guys, flipping is not for everybody. Flipping has some of the most benefits on any asset class in real estate because you can make the highest possible return in the shortest window. On average in real estate, we earn 50 to 60% cash on cash returns on our fix and flip properties in a 6 to 8 month period. We cannot get another asset class that's going to grow that rapidly. The cons are there's taxes, there's liability, and it comes with some inherent risk. And so we're going to cover all those things. So on day 3, sessions are going to be available immediately after you complete day 2, or we will email you the link Sunday morning. What's important after you complete day 1, 2, and 3 is we want you guys emailing us in, send us in the questions. We want to get the most out of your experience. So when you guys send in all these questions on our Tuesday night ProjectRE call, you guys are all going to be invited, and I'm going to be going through each one of your questions, and we're going to compile all the questions because typically there's some duplicates there, and we're going to walk you guys through those answers to get you going to that next step. We don't want you going through 3 days of boot camp, have some answered questions just for you not to take that step. The goal is to take that step and get growing in 2024. So make sure you send those questions in, and then we'll be recapping those all on our Tuesday night call at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Oh, sorry. We're actually bumping it up to 4:30 Pacific Standard Time to handle the overflow of questions. So we're going to start a little bit early. Everyone who has completed the boot camp is invited to join ProjectRE's community call. And you guys, our community calls are every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this is where I'm either teaching a topic on this call or we're bringing in a guest speaker. I'm interviewing them and we're learning something every Tuesday. This is where we are going to answer all of your questions from the boot camps. Links to join the call will be emailed and texted out to you on Tuesday at 3 p.m. So mark your calendars. Go through this boot camp, write down all your questions, guys. This is your chance to get rid of all those objections holding you back. And then we will cover all those questions on Tuesday evening. And for all those who are just getting started in this crazy, crazy business, you know, that holds people back all the time. They're like, I don't know where to start because of all the noise, especially now, right? The noise on the internet is a real thing. You have thousands of people telling you that this is the best type of investment to buy. This is how you're going to get rich quick. This is how you're going to grow fast. But what you know, and it makes it confusing for a lot of investors. And so you know, if you want to get started today, the biggest thing that needs to happen, or if I was getting started, is I need to really write down my tangible goals. And that was one mistake I really made when I got in this business. Remember back to my stories, I took a job knocking doors for an investment company because I kind of wanted to learn the business. I wanted to learn sales and I wanted to make some money. I had no goals written out. I had no training and I had no direction of where I was going. It was just try to make some money. And that wasted the first 15 months because I did not get a paycheck for almost 14 to 15 months doing that because I didn't know really where I wanted to go. Where I turned the corner in my life and I really started my path in real estate wasn't the first day I took that job. It was when I had to take a breather to realize I was doing it wrong. You know, I had been banging doors all day long, talking to homeowners, getting yelled at, getting just rejected. But the reason I was getting rejected is because I didn't know where I was going. And once I wrote down my goals for the first year, the 3 years, the 5 years, then I knew the action steps I needed to take. You know, it went from year one was I need to do at least 2 off-market deals a month to make this worth my while. Instead of worrying about making money and growing and becoming rich later down in life, by putting that tangible goal in front of me, I was able to document it. And then it told me, what do I need to do? Well, I had to train myself. I had to go through I had to research, learn what I needed to do. I needed to start networking with the people that would help grow me too. And because I was focused, I went from doing 0 deals in 14 months to not 2 deals a month to where I was averaging over 6 closings a month with average assignment fees of $20,000 to $30,000 as a 25-year-old person. Now, but that would have capped me in life if I would have done that. Because what I also had to do is I had to have my 3 and 5 year goals, which is to get to passive income and to grow further. And so by doing those goals and laying those things out, I knew once I started creating income, what do I do with that income? Well, I put it into fix and flip, and then I 10x that money and grew rapidly. By then taking that step, my next goal of building passive income, it made it accessible for me to do that, of taking my flip profits and then putting it into my long-term holdings that pays me all this passive income that allows me to live here today. And so as you're getting started, really lean into those goals. What are tangibles? What are those next steps that we need to take? And then you want to put that plan in action. But as you're new and as an investor, you know, just like all of us, I didn't start with a lot of money. I had to grow that capital. I went to wholesaling and fix and flip because it grew at the fastest with the least amount of money. By doing that, it created then my income later. So the key takeaways that we want you guys to have after this 3-day weekend is we want you to implement what you're going to learn from this boot camp, and getting your reps in. We at Heat and Dainard Real Estate ProjectRE, we are hard workers. Get your reps in, guys. The more swings we take, the more we learn. The more we learn allows us to scale and grow. And ProjectRE, we're going to go through what you're working on, the roadblocks, how to overcome them, and take you to action and scale your investing. Our ProjectRE Academy is different than any other thing out there, as far as I know. We are not teaching concepts. We are not teaching what you can read in a book or what you can listen to on a YouTube channel. We are going through weekly of where you're at in your investing career, what's next step you need to take, and why. And then they're bringing this back in the following week so we can get them back on that next step. Because that's what it takes down to tangibles. Take the tangible, move to the next level. Remember, write down all your questions throughout this 3-day weekend and submit so we can go through them live at 1:23, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. And that's what we're going to be highlighting. Running into those issues, running into those objections, running into those questions, and then solving them so you can take that next step. If you can't take that next step, you can't grow. So to recap, guys, day 1, Friday, where you're going to get a workbook download. Download that book. It's important to fill that out. Just listen to me yap's not gonna get you all the way through. You're going to learn on your own session. You're going to go through these recorded calls. You're going to write down inside your workbook of what you're trying to accomplish and where you're trying to go. Day 2, you're going to learn at your own session. This is where we're going nitty gritty underwriting, how to chop up that deal. How do you maximize it, make the most amount of profit? Day 3, again, learn at your own pace. As you get these recorded calls, you're going to be learning on day 3 about design, scaling, and growing. Get through the recordings, write down all your questions, and then submit them in so we can kind of get you through those objections and get growing. Remember, how you answer those questions are on the 4:30 ProjectRE community call. We'll jump on. You're going to talk to me. We're going to go through your questions, and we're really going to learn on how to maximize everybody in 2024. Cool. Well, you guys, I'm really excited for everybody in this room. The biggest thing, you guys, is take action. There's nothing worse than doing a course, doing a free boot camp, and then not taking the steps, right? Like if I'm flipping a property and I skip steps, guess what happens? I don't go anywhere. We don't make any money. And so that's the point, is the 3 days is to go through it, listen to the recorded training, document it in your workbook. And then by the end of day 3, get in your questions and then to get moving and get you guys off the bench. So I'm excited for everybody, and I look forward to seeing everybody on that Tuesday call with all your questions.